the tale of Beren, and is perhaps the most beautiful love story ever told. Their adventures are filled with peril, heartbreak, joy, and ultimate sacrifice. So let's dive back into this epic Middle-earth romance, shall we? Now, picking up where we left off, our heroes had passed through the outer walls of Angband, and now stood before the great doors of the inner fortress where Morgoth, the first Dark Lord, held his fiery throne. Though none could withstand the might of Morgoth save in his presence, Lúthien and Beren dared sing a song of the old tales, such as men of the West once sang when the world was young. And their voices echoing in the black halls rang with such beauty and power that even the servants of Morgoth forgot their evil deeds and paused to listen. And slowly, as the song grew fainter and faded into silence, the Dark Lord himself awakened from his ancient slumbers. For he sat upon an iron throne adorned with 3 great gems, each one a Silmaril of the 2 trees, which once burned in Valinor and cast their radiant light upon the whole of Arda, but Morgoth had stolen these precious jewels and twisted them to his wicked will, making them glow with infernal fire. And though the gems were evil, yet Beren knew that their essence was still good, and therefore hoped to take one and escape the wrath of the Dark Lord. And yet, before he could do anything, the doors behind him rumbled and shut, sealing them within the fortress of Angband. Then Morgoth arose and cried aloud, "Who dares disturb my sleep? Who has sung before my face and set my heart to wandering?" And although his servants urged him to slay the trespassers, Morgoth stayed them with a gesture and said, "Hark, I hear the echoes of an ancient song. It is long since any voice has dared intrude upon me, and long since my heart has yearned for music and mirth. Therefore, I bid you not to kill them, but bring them before me." When Morgoth thus spoke, his face was wreathed in flame, and his eyes blazed like stars in the sky. But still he seemed to Beren not wholly evil, for in his heart there lived yet some spark of the Aina, the music of the Aina, before the darkness came. And Beren answered, "We have come from afar and over much peril to stand before your mightiness. We seek no strife, but only what may be our deliverance from your wrath." Then Morgoth smiled, and though his teeth were sharp as swords and glistened with cruel fire, yet they did not seem so dreadful to Beren, for the Dark Lord was fair in face and form when he would, and his raiment shone with the splendor of the stars. And Morgoth asked them, "What is your desire? Speak, and I shall grant it freely, for I am Lord of all here beneath the earth. Choose life eternal, and dwell with me in peace." And Beren, taking hope from the Dark Lord's words, replied, "My desire is but small, and it is only to win one of those gems from your crown, which once were fashioned by the light of the trees and are now corrupted by your evil will." And Morgoth laughed, a sound like unto thunder in the hills, and said, "So little do you know of my power and my wrath. Are you mad to covet what I hold dear, and to set your hand against me, who am Lord of all the earth? Nay, if you would gain one of the stolen Silmarils, you must show yourself worthy of it. And I put before you a task which few could hope to achieve, and none ever has before." Thus saying, he raised his hand, and 9 great wolves leaped forth from the shadows, their eyes blazing like hot coals. And Morgoth proclaimed, "Go now and hunt down and slay Carcharoth, the greatest wolf of all the wild, and bring back his head as proof of your valor. For none can defeat Carcharoth, whose breath is poison and whose claws are keen as swords. He slumbers now in the caverns of the north, guarded by balrogs and wargs, and it is hidden deep within his lair. If you can retrieve it, then you may take one of my gems as your reward. But beware, for many have dared this quest and none have returned." Thereat, Beren's heart sank within him, and he turned to Lúthien and found her face pale. For she knew well the danger that lay before them. "Yet fear not, my love, for we shall defy the challenge of Morgoth," she said. "And if our fates are to part, then I shall join you in death as in life, and together we shall find our reward." Then she took Beren's hand and pressed it to her breast, and her courage flowed into him like a balm, renewing his strength and soothing his fear. And so they went forth from Angband and into the wild Northlands, where glaciers carved the hills and fierce winds blew across the barren plains. Soon they heard the howls of wolves echoing through the night, and knew that they drew near the lair of Carcharoth. And while Lúthien slept, Beren ventured forth and spied upon the beast. And indeed, he saw Carcharoth slumbering in the gloom, surrounded by balrogs and wolves, and his head was wreathed in mist and shadow, so that none could see his features. And Beren returned to Lúthien and told her all that he had seen. And she devised a plan. She said, "In the morning, when the beast stirs from his sleep, I shall sing a spell of enchantment and lull him into deeper slumber. Then you shall strike a blow upon his head and claim your prize." Then came the dawn, and Lúthien stepped forth from the rocks and sang, "Sleep, O wolf of shadow, sleep, O hunter of the night. The mists of morning hold you fast, and soon shall end your might." And as she sang, the fog rolled about the wolf, and he stirred not. And Beren seized his knife and ran forward. But before he could strike the killing blow, Carcharoth awoke and roared, shaking the earth and sending wolves and balrogs scattering in terror. Then the beast lunged at Beren, but he thrust his hand forward, and the wolf bit deep, biting clean through his gauntlet and glove. But Beren felt no pain, for the beast swallowed his hand with the Silmaril ring-hole. Then Carcharoth rose and howled in triumph, for he thought he had devoured a Silmaril and gained its powers. And he charged at Beren again, but he cared not, for he knew that the Silmaril was within the beast. So Carcharoth ran back to his cave and hid the treasure in his lair, believing himself invincible. And Beren followed, and there they fought with the balrogs and wargs, until both were wounded and weary. Then Beren fell, mortal as all men must be, and Lúthien, with a heavy heart, carried him into the dark depths of the earth. There she came before Mandos, the mighty Vala, whose hole was vast and shadowed, and no living soul had ever gone before. And she sang before him a final song, a lament for Beren, a hymn of love, a dirge of despair, so sorrowful and true that it echoed through the halls of Mandos and stirred the very foundations of the earth. And Mandos, lord of the dead, who had never wept before, was moved to tears and said, "Your love is a wonder, and your song is a marvel. Therefore I shall grant you a gift never before given to elf or man. You may choose mortality and share one fate with Beren." Thus were the bonds of marriage perfected between them, and Mandos delivered them into the halls of the living. Then and Beren walked forth hand in hand, and the memory of their deeds echoed through the ages. Their love had defied the Dark Lord and conquered even death itself. So ended the tale of Beren. And now, if you enjoyed this epic Middle-earth romance, do not forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more tales from the world of Tolkien. Until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, and may the valor protect you.